Welcome to episode 26 of the AI Outcomes podcast. This is a two-parter. It's in two parts because these two parts of episode 26 are specifically designed to enable people in sales or consultancy or pre-sales type or specialist type roles, but on the supply side, effectively engage with customers who are looking to adopt AI at scale. I've done it in two parts because part one's really important to understand before we kind of get into part two. Now, part one, what you're about to hear right now, is tackling the whole issue that on the sales side, we don't seem to understand that executing an AI program within a customer, within an enterprise or a mid-sized customer, is not a technology project. It's part of a much bigger business transformation program. So I'm going to step through a real customer example for you who is already implementing and executing a large-scale business transformation program that's based upon on AI and multiple AI tools across their business, right? That will give you an understanding of the much wider context from the customer's perspective of how they're thinking about AI. Not technology, it's a business transformation program of which technology is a key enabler. Then in part two, I'm going to help you then engage with the customer to understand how you can add value from your organization within the context of delivering AI as an enabler to their overall business transformation program. So I hope it's going to be a really useful two-parter for you. I hope you enjoyed part one. Let's go.
So I'm going to keep this short, and this is designed for, I guess, my community, right? Who are technology, outsourcing, consultancy salespeople, right? And the word sales, I really don't like it, but sales is a profession, right? And I don't like the word sales because I don't think we ever actually win big by selling. I think we win big by partnering with customers to solve their problems, right? And that's never been needed more so than now in the age of AI. And everybody is unsure about how to adopt AI. And that goes from like really big banking institutions all the way down to, small to medium sized businesses. You kind of got this confusion about it. You've also got the early signs of problems. Like we saw even last year, we saw people proceeding with Microsoft Copilot deployments and then having to pull them back because the Copilot is now oversharing, sharing the CEO's salary details and emails. And hey, we had certain messages in a Teams group that just suddenly are now available for our employees to go and find when they shouldn't be. There should be some guardrails. So you're already seeing these early signs that adopting AI is not as simple as it sounds. And so, kind of lesson number one that I've learned is that AI is not a technology project, right? Obviously, AI is technology, but bringing AI into your business should not be viewed as a technology project, but you need strong technology partners. And if I was on the customer side, I would be looking at a ecosystem of technology partners that are going to do different things to help me safely adopt and then scale the right AI for my business. Now, one of the key learnings that I guess you can all get just from this podcast is go back to the episode. Let me see. I think it was episode. I'm just checking it right now. It was episode 20 when brilliant CEO of Forge Holiday Group, Graham Donahue, he joined the podcast. Graham exemplifies the type of CEO who's not viewing AI as a technology project, but as a transformation for his business. And so what I thought I would do on this kind of like episode one, if you like, of for salespeople, how do you approach your customers around AI? Is well, let's learn from Graham, right? Let's learn from Graham. What is he doing in his business? And then that will help you understand what your customer is either doing or needs to do to deploy and adopt AI successfully to actually deliver business outcomes in their business. And so that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to go through step by step what Graham's doing in Forge Holiday Group. So, and this first point's really important is AI. If AI is not a technology project, what is it? Well, it's a change in the way the customer's going to operate in their business. And what Forge Holiday Group did, which was really interesting, is the CEO set out a clear vision. And that clear vision was that they are going to use AI to make every employee in the company 30% better at their job. So that's not about, hey, we're going to cut jobs with AI. In fact, on the job cutting with AI front, how well is that really going? I mean, you're seeing some scary news stories, and look, hey, that's what the news does, right? Plane lands safely does not make a good headline in the news, right? So the news reports bad news. It does not report good news. So you will see in the news, IBM are making 8,000 job role cuts thanks to in their HR department because of AI. You're gonna see the scary stuff, those headlines, but that's not the reality. The reality for most businesses is they are going to want to get their employees using AI to be, as Graham said, 30% better at their job, more efficient and more effective. And so that, I think, is a really smart way of using AI. Because, hey, if you want to use AI to shrink your workforce, hey, you got to be careful on that. We saw Klarna do that with customer services, right? We saw Klarna, very early adopters, aggressive adopters of AI, and hey, nothing wrong with that. They released a whole bunch of customer services staff, and then they've re-employed them this year. So AI, set the vision. And the vision, and you can say this to your customer, we believe the vision for your organization should not be about job cuts. It should be about deploying AI safely to make every single one of your employees 30% more effective. Next, the customer needs to create a policy. So before you get to the AI tools and the infrastructure and all of that, the customer needs to build a clear AI policy and governance framework. And governance is oversight, right? How's this going to work? And there needs to be a team on the customer side doing this. And I think that team needs to be led by a CEO. I think that's the CEO's new role in all of this. And it's almost like the best CEOs are almost the ones that use AI outside of work, and they just kind of got into ChatGPT, and they're just heavy AI users, both, I guess, outside and inside work. That's what I am, right? Everything I'm using AI to help me be more effective, right? And so I would be recommending to customers, hey, make this CEO led, and then build a team from across your business. Right. So, next learning point for anybody on the supply side in technology is if it's not a technology program, AI is not a full solution you can just go sell to any customer. It's not going to work. The customer needs to build their own team who you will support. So if you look at what Forge Holiday Group did, they employed what they called AI guardians, who were good people in each different business function for Forge Holiday Group, who were going to champion and be advocates for AI, but also keep an eye on it and make sure it was adopted and implemented successfully but safely. And so you're going to launch a program, and Forge Holiday Group called their program AI for All, and they launched it as a program with a clear policy. So this is how we're going to use AI. These are the rules around it. These are the boundaries around it. And this is a governance framework. And governance means who's going to be involved on the customer side? What does that team look like? And it's going to have people from lines of business. It's going to have people from different parts of technology, and maybe probably HR, probably finance, all the functions that you can think of within a typical business. They're going to have a representative, and they're going to work within the governance framework for the AI program. And I think it's a really good idea to stamp a name on that AI program, right? And that is a transformation for how we're going to do business. So whether you call them AI guardians, as Forge Holiday Group or did, you're going to need these representatives from across different departments. And then communication. Graham literally said they communicated relentlessly to their staff, right? And he also said one of the teams who were most anti the new AI initiative was his technology team. That was a big surprise to me. You'd think the technology team would be champing at the bit to implement AI. Actually, people in technology, he reported, weren't doing that. So it says to you, if you're on the supply side, it says to you, you need to be talking to technology, but also to different lines of business within your customer's organization, right? So gone are the days of this being, hey, we just sold the infrastructure or the software or the widget to technology and they implemented it. It's not going to work. You need to have a much broader view of all of the key stakeholders within your customer. And hey, there's nothing new to that, is there? There's nothing new to that. That's always been the case in kind of really good, strong consultative selling. But now it's critical. You could kind of get away with it before, but now it's absolutely critical. And so the customer is then going to need to communicate relentlessly. Now, with Forge Holiday Group, what they did is they ran what they called the AI days, got everyone together. They shared real examples of early tools that they had adopted in action and what those tools were doing. And then they repeated the messaging constantly. And so communication is going to be really important for any customer looking to adopt AI. And then what they also did at Forge was they tracked the adoption with a product. I think they used a product called Netscope, which was kind of monitoring not just logins to each of the AI tools, but actual usage and the prompting that the employees were putting into the AI tools. So you could see this kind of adoption curve in real time. So where have we been? We've been on vision. We've been through policy. We've been launched this as a program, and it's not a technology project. It's led by CEO, and it has a governance framework. And appoint your advocates across your business. Then you communicate relentlessly. Then you track adoption with data points. Then you start the process of celebrating employee discoveries. Now, I thought this was really novel, not heard it before, and I think this is something that any customer can do. You can start sharing new AI use cases that have been found by your staff. So you have a process, remember, but the staff can nominate new AI tools that they want to use. And then you kind of bring them into kind of like a proof of concept type environment and start shifting the culture from fear of AI to now excitement that, oh, right, the intention really isn't that this is going to take my job. It's how do I get 30% better in my job? And then, of course, that knock-on effect is if I'm 30% better in my job role, then the aggregate of all of those 30% across the business is we deliver a 30% better customer experience. So we win more by being better. That's how we gain competitive advantage. And so that kind of like flywheel approach of encouraging your employees to nominate AI tools in a safe way, I thought was really novel and really great. Then you've got to, I guess, then continue to communicate to overcome that resistance. And so I think that really comes down to also that CEO led business change. Like, who else can lead this within the organization? Interestingly, if you go to right to the top of the food chain of mega cap customers, so the biggest financial institutions on the planet, if you have a little scroll back through the podcast to episode 24 with Alexandra Musavizadeh, she runs a company called Evident that benchmarks like the JP Morgans, Barclays, HSBCs, how they're adopting AI, right? And they've got almost unlimited budget and AI is like nothing new to them, right? Now so go check out episode 24. But she even said, look, Ben, the customers that are at the top of the benchmarking table that they run, they have CEOs that outside of work are using AI the whole time. So I think CEO is absolutely critical in this. So that tells you, if you're on the supply side, what's a critical relationship that you now need to have within your customer's organization? Yes, I hear you all say, yes, it's with the customer CEO. And so is that going to be you if you're an account manager at a technology company? Is that going to be you having that relationship with the CEO? No, it's not. But what is it you need to get your CEO to connect with the customer's CEO? I think that's really different, and that's not needed to happen before, has it? And so what we're forming then is a much clearer picture now of how not an HSBC, but how like a mid-sized enterprise is really going to adopt AI and the realities of that. And so they were the kind of the key takeaways from that conversation with Graham. And then so now we've looked at what this is, how a customer's now adopting this. How do we get involved in that as a technology partner? I think I want to cover that as probably I'm going to do that as 4 steps on the next part of this next episode of this podcast, which will be next week. But look, in between now and next week, what would I say is the number one thing that you need to know as the salesperson in the frame of this? Is the number one thing you need to understand is the business outcomes that your customers need to achieve, right? Now, again, that was always important, wasn't it? But now it's of critical importance. Now, where do you go to find those business outcomes? You do your research. You go listen, look up your end customers, CEO, look them up on YouTube, look them up on podcasts, look them up on their own website. What have they already announced as the business outcomes that they need to achieve, that they're measuring within their organization? And the next part of your research should be, what AI projects and initiatives or vision have they already announced? Like every room full of salespeople that I work with week in, week out, when I say to them, hey, just go onto Google right now and type in what has a particular customer already announced around AI, I would say 90% of the customers have already made some statements, already released some use cases where they're adopting AI, and then go and research the stakeholders. So every line of business within your customer, make sure you know all of their lines of business. You can find them on the website. Hop onto LinkedIn or Sales Navigator and just have a really good search through who the executives are on the customer side looking after each of those lines of business. Right. I'm going to call a close to this episode right there. There's a clear action point for you to do. And then next week, I'm going to set out, I think I'm going to do 4 steps. On these 4 steps, this is how you're now going to go and engage with each one of your priority customers to get involved as a partner for AI. And remember, it's not just going to be down to you. The customer's going to need an ecosystem of partners to deliver their AI vision. It's going to go all the way from software, from business process engineering. It's going to go through change management. It's going to go through new infrastructure platforms. It's going to go through getting all their data together and managing all of that data. All of it is going to be a full scale business transformation program that needs to happen really quickly. And it needs to be kind of like building the plane as you're flying it, because the AI market's not just going to stop, right? It's going to keep developing. So there's going to need to be some sort of flywheel built into this. So as the market changes and the AI models get more powerful, that can be introduced quickly but safely into the organization. So I'll cover that on part 2. This was part 1. I'm gonna wrap there, and I hope this was really useful for you. Let me know feedback, comments, subscribe, what you want to see, what will be useful for you, and I'll see you next week on part 2 of this episode.